Hey everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be all about the books that I'm hoping to read before the end of the year. I have to switch things up because whenever I did my November TBR, you can see me slowly losing it throughout the video as I'm realizing that most of the books that I wanted to read had been on my TBR maybe for a few months and I was finally getting around to reading them, or maybe they had been on my waiting list at the library for a while, but all of them seemed to have low ratings and you guys were telling me I was not going to enjoy them. And to be fair, we don't always agree, and I will most likely get to all of these eventually, but I'm trying to still enjoy myself and I wanted to try and find a couple more favorites before the end of the year, so it did not seem like it was going to help me and I could sense the reading slump coming and I don't want that, especially again the last month and a half before I start posting my best worst books of the year. I want to find some exceptional books, so I'm going to be doing my end of the year book tag and we're going to try to find some possible contenders for future favorites. For last minute favorites, let's go with that. So let's get to it. Question number one calls me out so strongly. Are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? Okay. Usually every year I do my pile of shame reading challenge / vlog during the summer. I didn't do it this year because I'm already doing my read it or on haul it challenge, so I felt like I was already dealing with enough that way. But if we are being honest with ourselves here, I did struggle with a couple books this year and I'm getting better at just putting them down and giving up on them, which I'm really happy about. I will do a video probably. I usually do my DNF pile, all the books that I did not finish, and I did not leave myself notes this year. This year was rough, okay? I think I might still attempt to do it because I have my unhaul shelf that is full of those, and the ones that I got from the library, there's the list available on the website. So I might still be able to get around to do a mostly accurate list, but I've gotten so much better at this, so I feel like I don't have that many books that I'm struggling with in the middle of, but I think this is the one everyone is expecting, and it's not even funny anymore. This is Old Bringer by Brandon Sanderson. This is the third book in the Stormlight Archive series. I read book 2 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure at this point. And I loved book 1, book 2. They were both like 5-star. I mean, it's Brandon Sanderson. This is like his most epic adult fantasy series, and I have been really enjoying it. Like literally was recording my reaction at the ending of book 2 because you told me about where things were going to get really intense, and you can see me completely losing it. So I was excited to continue, yet I would never pick it up. Eventually I just told myself, suck it up, do it. And wow, there are literally teeth mark. I don't know if you guys, I'm gonna zoom in because you need to see this. That's one of my cats, of course. So, I made it to page, oh my gosh, where's my bookmark? Freaking cats. Oh no, I have it. Sorry, cats. So, I was at chapter 41, page 430. So like I read this is a whole size book, right? And the book is like 1,200 pages, I believe. Yeah. So I'm a third into the book and I put it down to no fault of the book. It's just me. I haven't been reading that many super thick books, but mostly I haven't been reading that many thick fantasy this year. And this is also the first year in a while that I didn't force myself to do a series challenge, which it's coming back. We're gonna address that in a second. It's coming back because I need it. So yeah, that's the one that I should absolutely finish before the end of the year, and I do plan on doing it. To be more precise, usually mid-December, this is where I post my best, worst, most surprising, most disappointing books of the year, and like all that, those like end of the year book series, which I am very excited for. And then for the next like 2 weeks, I usually focus on other things like nonfiction, maybe some reread of favorite books. And I think I will, like, it's going to take me forever. And I feel like I'm going to be posting every 2 days. I will not have that much time to read. So I feel like this could be realistic to just give myself this and I'll finish it early in January. So I think that's a decent compromise with myself in my head. Will it happen? I don't know. We'll see. I also did put down recently Beneath the Keep. There's also nothing wrong with the book. I just started picking up something else. I'm currently reading something else. So like I'm calling myself out. So I will need to finish this. This is the prequel to the Tearlink series. And I love that series. This is the prequel. I should enjoy it, but I put it down to start other things because I have issues. But this is why the fantasy challenge is coming back next year. Question number 2. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Okay, I feel like this is getting a little late for this. I actually just did a video about autumnal vibes, finding book recommendation for your fall vibe, and it was a lot of fun, but I feel like for the end of the year, I will want to focus more on the new releases that I did not get around to reading. I have a couple. Again, some of them have had bad ratings, whatever, but I also still want to try to read a couple that are fall vibes, like Dark Academia, for example, An Academy for Liars, which just came out, Magical School. The reviews have been a bit hit and miss, but I do have a copy on my e-reader, so I need to get around to reading that one. There's a few like more mystery thrillers that I want to read, like this one. I also want to read one more classic before the end of the year. I feel like summer, fall, I feel like classics are great. At least that's, do you categorize genres for seasons? I definitely do. And Far from the Madding Crowd is the last classic I will read this year, unless I pick one during the Read It, Don't Haul It challenge. But that's definitely on my list. So I definitely want to focus on new releases. That's definitely another one that I wanted to pick up. I have the Pirate Tea one that I also want to get around to reading. So I think that's going to be my focus. A few more fall reads and a little bit of classics and new releases. I think that's where it's at for me for the end of the year because I want to try and keep up with the new releases. I never fully do. I feel like there are so many books that come out, but those are the ones that I own physically. And then from the library, I also have a couple more, but those are the ones that you guys told me I wasn't going to like. So it's your fault, but I still might get around to reading those before the end of the year. Like currently, I am listening to Daughter of Mine, which is another murder mystery small town, so that's fall read for me. More recently, actually, I had added Finger Smith, which I think is a murder mystery also. That was one of your recommendations, so hopefully that should be better. I do have Here One Moment by Leon Moriarty, which is also a new release. I'm not sure what genre that one would be categorized at. And I have Incidents Around the House, which is also a new release from this year that you guys told me I was going to hate. To be fair, this is going to be my third book by the author, and this is like his last chance, guys. It sounds harsh, but eventually you have to give up, right? And I also have The Eyes Are the Best Part, which again seemed to really divide everyone. It's a new release from this year. You can see definitely focusing on new releases, and a lot of them are like fall reads because I had been putting them on my waiting list for a while and they just came out perfect time for the fall. So I'm finally getting around to reading them because the waiting lists were long. So we'll see if that works out for me. But like I said, a lot of the ones from the library are the ones that I don't know how I'm going to feel. That's why I use my library because it's free. Well, mostly free. I do have to pay for one of my library cards, but it's worth it anyway. I know some of you get like a number of the value of all the books you've gotten from the library, which I wish my library did that because I know I've saved like thousands of dollars. Question number 3, is there still a new release you are waiting for? Okay, because I'm posting this 2 months before the end of the year, there aren't that many new releases that will be coming out. There is technically book 5 in the Starlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson, Wind and Truth, coming out December 6th. That's why I wanted to read Oathbringer. I wanted to be able to binge read them. Didn't happen that way. Maybe next year, 2025, I could read book 4 and 5 if I can finish book 3 this year. And technically, this is going to be a 10-book series, but it's going to be divided in 2. So this would be the end of the first arc. So it could be nice. It could be nice. So that's the last one I have really on my list that is coming out this year. But just to make things a bit more interesting, even though the book tag is called End of the Year, I'm going to give you 2 that are being released early next year to give you a sneak peek because I will be doing a video about my most anticipated release of 2025. But in January 14th, I believe, yeah, Grady Enrix is coming out with a book, which I'll put it on the screen, something witchcraft, which I'm a big fan, okay, of witches. For the first time in like forever, I feel like I'm not wearing a dark lipstick and a dark shirt. It's been my vibe this year so far. I'm looking forward to reading this one. This is going to be my 4th book by him. I've discovered him this year. I think it's the author I've read the most book from, like in 1 year. I usually don't tend to read that many books from the same author within the same year, but I've given all 3 books like a 4-star. They were all solid horror books. Horror is so hit and miss, but you put witches or witchcraft on your title, I will read your book. So I will be reading that one, and like I said, very early next year. And I don't know if you guys know about this one. It was supposed to come out this year, so like I'm allowing it as a mention here too. And it's a witch's guide to magical innkeeping that is coming out in March. Like I said, it was supposed to come out this year. I was looking forward to it, but it's been pushed back. So early next year it's coming out. It's from the same author that wrote the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. So this was a feel-good kind of cozy witchy book. So I'm looking forward to reading more. I wanted to try something else by her. So that's definitely on my list, but it had to be pushed back to next year. So I'll pick it up whenever it's available. Okay, question number 4 is where I get it together, okay? Because we need to talk about the books I'm hoping to read before the end of the year. The question was, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? Okay, we're going to do more than 3 because, again, we are reassessing the year. So the one I'm currently reading would have been on this list, but I had to push back filming this video a week further. So I'm announcing it. I'm currently reading Started Villain, which that was one of the ones that you made me realize I needed to pick up before the end of the year. I have read a couple books by John Scalzi, I think 3 and like 2 of them this year, and they're solid, usually 4-star. They tend to be funny, and because I was sensing the reading slump coming, I thought this was a good idea. You can't tell, but it's short. It's like 250 pages, and with the cat on the cover, I was already like, should I rate this? Like, I'm excited because I am a crazy cat lady, and you told me that the cats are actually important characters in the book, so like, sold. So this is technically sci-fi-ish. The main character inherits the company from his uncle, and it's like a supervillain company. So, listen, I was already sold there. The cats added, yes, and it's going to be funny. So I'm going to let you know in my next reading vlog. But so far, I'm, I wanted to add more books I thought I was going to like, and you were right. The next one I wanted to give a shot to was one more book by Elena Ferrante. I absolutely adore the Neapolitan series by her. I did try another book by her. I think it's Days of Abandonment, which was not working for me. Not to no fault of the author. I do think the book does what it's meant to do, but it was a little too for me. This one, I think, is more what I expected the other one to be. Because this woman, she is middle-aged, divorcee, and she's devoted her whole life to, her children and everything, and then they go away. Why did I word this that way? But she kind of just rediscovered herself. And I thought the other book was that, but that was the woman absolutely losing it after her husband leaves. So again, it was well written, and it did what it meant to do. Like, the emotions were there, but it's just not what I expected. So I think this one, again, is short. Maybe this is where I draw the line for myself, just trying to go to authors I've enjoyed before, and they're not too long, so the reading slump will not go away. We don't want you. So that's 2. 3 sounds really low. I've already mentioned Oathbringer. We're not going to mention it again. And I'm not going to mention the ones I've already mentioned that I want to read. I will give a quick shout out to The Color Purple, which I also mentioned that I was hoping to include in a challenge, probably my next reading vlog, which I'm excited about. This one is like a beloved classic, modern classics, I guess. And I know it's going to be a tough read. I do have, I believe, the physical book too, but I have the audiobook. So we'll see whichever work best for me, but I think this one is going to be a favorite, although it's probably going to be a rough read. But if we continue with easier, shorter books that I expect to give 5-star to, or at least a 4, putting the bar pretty low. This one has been on my TBR and my waiting list at the library for months and months and months. Can I actually, yep, oh my gosh. You can get the exact date on the app. If you don't use Libby, I highly recommend it. So May 12th of 2023. So I've been meaning to read this book for a while, but Elena knows. And I was looking to read more books that were translated to English. English is my second language, and I feel like we can start reading the same thing over and over again that everyone is reading. And I always try nowadays to find new favorites, things that might not be as well known, at least on this part of the internet. And this one has been getting a lot of hype in Spanish-speaking countries. I want to say that the author's from Argentina. I might be wrong, but this one won the International Booker Prize of 2022. And I'm like there because it's written super tight. This is also, again, a short book. I believe this one, the mother is sick and her daughter was murdered, and she's trying to piece things together, figure out what happened, because the police isn't really doing their job. So I really want to find a time for this one. Like, Emily, get it together. Maybe I'll force myself to do a reading vlog in December or something, trying to read the must-reads ASAP. Honestly, I should have went to grab this file earlier, but Biddy to keep, of course. And this is the other one that I don't think I'm going to have time for this week. But again, if I do that reading vlog, last chance to find a new favorite. Maybe that's going to be a vlog in December. This needs to be on there too, because it is a standalone adult fantasy. Not enough of those. This one got a shout out from Brendan Sanderson, and I heard that the magic system is really interesting. People are creating these dolls to protect them from demons. And people were saying that this felt a little cozy, which that sounds a bit, I will take the cozy, but it sounds going to be interesting. And I just wanted something a bit more unique. So I believe this is also a debut author, so I wanted to give her a shot. So I think this one and Ellen knows we're planning things right now, that could be a good reading vlog, trying to find a favorite, one last 5 star. So I think that was 4, but those are like the ones that I think could be new favorite before the end of the year, which if you have a list, your own list of like the books that you think you'll give 5 star to before the end of the year, let us know, because the ones I don't have time to read right now, I will definitely do more reading vlogs next year. Actually, I'm going to redo the first one I did this year was reading your favorite of the previous year. I think I'm going to do that again because while I didn't love everything, I still found my first 5 star that way. So like, why not? Okay, question number 5. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I feel like I kind of answered that with my new challenge for the end of the year, but Start of Ellen is going well so far. But if I had to choose, I think maybe Ellen and Nose might work really well for me. Or maybe even this one, if it goes well. Because I loved her writing in the other series. I feel like I've already answered. Last question, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And then question number 6. Have you started making reading plans for 2025? And the answer is hell yes. I've already started mentioning it. I'll do a whole video, as always, talking about how this year went, what I'm planning for next year, and all of that, looking at the stats too. Those are all fun videos that are coming. I'm so excited for my end of year videos because every year I like refine everything. I find new things to do, but yes, I definitely know some of my plans. I do want to do the fantasy series one. So last 2 years, I was doing a challenge where I was trying to finish, catch up, or give up on 10 book series. And it was life-changing for me because I used to read back to back, like series back to back, and it went well. But it was mostly because I didn't have access to that many books, which like clearly is not a problem anymore. It created a different problem where I start like 40 series a year and I finish like 10, which is ridiculous. It's not a good average. And even though I have a good memory, there are limits. If I want to actually remember what's going on, who is who, I need to try and finish them faster. So the last 2 years I did that. It went pretty well. I did give up on some series too, which honestly felt great. So because I didn't do it this year, it was not going well. That's why I started attempting to do more, and it's not going well either. So 2025, we're going to do it again, probably still sticking to 10. And I feel like every year it's getting harder because I finish all the ones that had one more book left, So I need to catch up to probably like 2 or 3 books for a lot of them, but that's okay because again, it's needed. It is needed. So definitely my highest challenge of the year. I will do again my Read It or Haul It challenge. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised there. This is my 2nd year doing it, and it's probably everyone's favorite challenge. And I will admit it's been kind of hard at times, but it's been really helping me give up on more books that I've owned for years and years and years on my shelves. And we're doing the cleanup. So I feel like this year I did a lot of cleanup, which is probably why I didn't find as many 5 stars. But by doing this cleanup, I also found some 5 star that had been on my shelf for like 5 years. So that's been good for me. I do want to do again, I think, my nonfiction. Let me know if you would like that because I like doing the video announcing it at the beginning of the year. That way I kind of have a list. It forced myself to go on the website, my library website, and go through all the new nonfiction that they've added within the last year. And then I had those all to my wish list or waiting list. And I have so many options. So you're just a lot more tempted to read a lot more nonfiction. So it was a little slow beginning of the year, but I'm finally back to trying to reading a lot more of them. And otherwise, I will do everything else I've already been doing, so little fun challenges throughout the year. So if there are any challenges that you missed that I haven't done this year, definitely let me know. I think I might still also do my 1 week, 1 shelf challenge. I usually do that in February. It's been fun. It just gives me a little bit more freedom than the Read It or Haul It because I get to choose whatever book I want from the shelf. So I can kind of choose a little bit what I'm in the mood for compared to like one book. So yeah, so a lot of challenges next year, as always, because it makes me a lot more motivated. Although I think I will mix it a bit more with like just fun, cozy reading vlogs, because if you do too many challenges, you just don't pick up the books you actually are in the mood for, so that's not better. So that kind of gives you an idea of what I have in mind so far for 2025. If you have any suggestions, once again, leave those in the comment section. And I would love to hear your own answers to these questions. And as always, thumbs up, subscribe. I'll put more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out. And I will see you in an upcoming video very soon. Bye. If you haven't seen it, I started a series where I am going back to my beginning on Booktube, trying to find a #1 book per year. So you have that to look forward to.